Today I'll show you how you can scrape any website with Claude Code using Firecrawl MCP. You will be able to take screenshot of web pages, extract brand guidelines, and map the entire website so that you can get the data in any form you want. And once we connected that, I'll show you 2 real business use cases. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Joe. I'm an ex-senior manager in big tech. I scaled my own AI agency to 6 figures, helping more than 50 businesses transition to AI. And with that being said, get comfortable and let's dive straight in. The service we're going to be using is Firecrawl. And if you are new to it, Firecrawl is simply a third-party tool that allows you to scrape website. The reason behind it, without going into the details, is that scraping website is not something that's so easy to do. And because there are some sort of blockers that don't allow us to simply scrape the web as we please, and therefore we need to rely on third-party tools in order to do it, unless we're technical enough to build it ourselves. Just before we start building, I just want to show you what are the 5 capabilities that Firecrawl has, because when we will be connecting our Claude Code to the MCP, we will be able to use all of them. So starting from the left-hand side, Firecrawl can scrape, it can map. So basically, map means that it's going to identify all of the relevant URLs around the website. It can crawl, which means once you have a lot of URLs, you can go in and out to extract this information. It can search, meaning that we are able to search for relevant stuff within the page and to enrich maybe the data or to find specific information. And then we can extract, which basically means that we're just going to take the website and extract it into a structured JSON format. So now that you have on a top level the understanding of what are the possibilities that Firecrawl offers, now let's go straight into building mode and let's build it so that we can see live how it works. And before going into Claude Code, we're just going to go into Firecrawl because before integrating, I want to show you exactly all of the things that you will manage to retrieve once you use this website. So in order to do that, I'm gonna go to the playground and I am going to use a website that was very hyped recently, which is openclaw.ai. And before pressing start scraping, I want us to stop in here where the format is markdown, right? And basically here, if I were to press start scraping, I would be just getting the markdown format of this. However, in this example, I wanna get, for example, a summary of AI, the links, the screenshot of the pages, and I will press full page. Then I want to get, the branding and the images, right? So I want to get 6 things. And I'm going to press start scraping. Cool. So once the scraping is finished, we see that we have the markdown, which basically is another way of saying a text formatted in a way that AI can understand it better, right? With some sort of hierarchy given by these. Right? So we have all of the text from the website and you can see, right? So OpenClaw clears your inbox, sends email, manages your calendar, etc., etc., etc. So we have all of the stuff written. We have an AI summary. We have all of the links that we will then be able to later on maybe crawl if we wanted to. We have the screenshots. So we have a complete screenshot of the web page, right? And you can see here, we have the branding guidelines. And as you can see here, we have logo and we have a lot of other components. Buttons, primary and secondary, it allows us to see how they look like. And then the colors that we see, right? So here we can avoid guessing what colors these are. And we can start taking also the fonts. And when is this useful? If you ever tried to build, a SaaS or a website, you know that if you give no guidance to these IDEs, whether you're using Anti-Gravity or Claude Code, the output will be super messy. So having clear guidelines on branding or on anything that we can use in order to start giving our IDE some initial direction will be super relevant. And then eventually you have also the JSON file in case you needed that for, I don't know why you would need this, but eventually you can also use it. Now that we have clarified what possibilities Firecrawl offers, what we want to do is connect this to our Claude Code. So let's now go straight into Claude Code. We're actually going to use VS Code. So the first thing that we're going to do once you open this initial interface is going to be open a folder. So I'm going to go in my desktop, I'm going to go into Claude Code and Firecrawl Scraping, which is an empty folder that I created. Now here, you're going to go to Extension, Claude Code, and then top right-hand corner right here, you're going to have the symbol of Claude that you can press, right? Now, what are we going to say? We're going to tell Claude that we need to connect to the Firecrawl MCP and that it needs to help us to get this MCP, right? And how do we do it? We go back to our Firecrawl and we press into Docs. And right here on the right-hand side, you're going to have a button that says running on Claude Code. And the thing that you have to press and copy in order to connect it is this one right here. So you're going to go back to Claude Code and you're going to say something along the way of, hey, I need you to connect with the Firecrawl MCP. I'm going to press below the command. I also need you to create a separate .env file because there I would like to store my API keys. You're then going to copy the command that you just copied, right? And you're then going to go again into Firecrawl, into your API keys, and you can either create your own one or copy the default, right? So what I'm going to do now is copy these, go here, copy my API keys, and then press enter. It now created both the env and the .mcp JSON file, and we're good to go. Now, before doing anything and before going into a real business use case on why this is so powerful and useful, I want to do something like this. Hey, please, I would need you to do two things. The first one is I would need you to create an mcp.md file. Please feel free to name it however you prefer according to the best practices and convention. Basically, this cheat sheet should reflect all of the capabilities that the Firecrawl MCP has, and you should use this file every time that I ask you to connect to the MCP or to use it in order for you to understand what are your capabilities. And as a second thing, I would need you to create a claude.md file, which basically will serve as context for what the project is about. This project is about scraping, and with this project, I'm able to scrape anything, whether it's scraping a simple page, getting screenshot, mapping, and etc. And in order to do that, I would simply use the Firecrawl MCP that I provided you. So what are we doing? First of all, we are creating, and in the meantime that it's processing it, first of all, we are creating the claude.md file that if you are new to Claude Code, basically, every Claude Code stores at the top level general instruction that are going to describe what the project, let's say, is about. And you're going to store these inside the claude.md. Now, why are we creating a separate thing from the claude.md to store the Firecrawl MCP information? Because the claude.md, the best practice says that it should be as short and concise as possible, yet exhaustive, of course, but it should not contain redundant information or information that you could access at a later date, right? So what you want is that in the claude.md file, you have the possibilities of knowing when you should access the MCP. But whenever Claude needs deep dive information on what are the capabilities, how to do things, and etc., we should simply create a connection to another .md file in order to avoid congesting our context and for Claude to continuously have irrelevant information whenever we instantiate a new project. So what are we going to do now is that once this will be created, then we will be able to straight away use it. And we will do two business use cases. And to show you what we're going to be doing, we're going to be, first of all, scraping this, which is an ad page. This is for LinkedIn, for example, in order to see, okay, what our competition is doing and how they're behaving, what type of ads they're doing. Is it video? Is it text? Basically, we want to run an analysis on competitors of what they're currently doing in the platform. And the second thing that I want to do is I want to go back to the example that I got with OpenClaw. And basically, let's imagine that we're building a SaaS and I want to create something that has this look or this vibe. Ideally, I want to be able to gather all of the branding information and branding guidelines from this website so that I could prompt initially my IDE saying, hey, please recreate a website on, hats, which is similar to this or similar in look. Perfect. So now we have created both files. So now real quick to show it to you, the Firecrawl MCP has the whole cheat sheet where it explains everything. So every single function, tools overview, the parameters. So this is a complete walkthrough of what's possible with it. And here with the claude.md, we're simply giving top level information of what it is that we actually want to do and how it works, right? Now, with this, we can now clear the conversation and restore the context. We can quickly open another chat and we can position it right here so that we're going to be able to run two things at the same time. And we are going to put both of them into planning mode because this will require some planning for both of the things, right? So the first thing that we're going to be doing is, as we mentioned, we're going to check this scraping library. So I'm just going to copy this, paste it here, and I'm going to say something along the way of, I would need your help in order to create an agentic workflow that helps me scrape the link that I pasted. That is a publicly accessible library of LinkedIn ads. And what I would need you to do is that I would need you to help me create a Google Sheet that allows me to map what the ads of my competitors are doing. How are these ads? Ideally, I would love to store a couple of pictures and I would need to understand what text they are using inside the ads and etc. So what I'm basically trying to do is I'm trying to analyze all of these in order to create some sort of competitive analysis type of file that will help me understand better what are my next steps in terms of what ads I should be producing based on my competitors. This is a publicly accessible library, so please don't try to scrape LinkedIn, but ensure that you're just scraping this simple URL, probably through browse searching or however you prefer, using, of course, the Firecrawl MCP. And with this, we are good to go. So this is initially good, and the system will plan accordingly. Now we're going to go back here, take this, and we're going to say something along the way of, I am trying to understand what is the branding guidelines that this company used in order to create their website. What I am trying to do is I'm trying to extract all of them in order to use them in one of my projects, because what I'm trying to build is the new website for my new SaaS, and I want to have the same look and feel. So please use Firecrawl MCP in order to extract all of the information that I need in order to be able to use them later on. And then we're going to press enter again. Now, the best practice would be that we ask Claude Code to give us 2-3 options. But one thing that I want to stress is the fact that what we are trying to do now with the planning mode is that we're just trying to align with the AI. What is the best plan of action in order for the AI to be able to implement all of the changes? And later on, we will simply add whatever it is of credentials that we need to add for our Google Sheet or whatever it is that we need in order for this to succeed. Now, we just know that we provided the access to the MCP and the API keys. Therefore, we know that from the scraping standpoint, we should be good to go. Now, one thing that for sure we'll miss, but I will do it right now, is it doesn't have the credentials to open my Google Sheet, so I will just extract the credentials and paste them in. Now, here we are at the point where the agent is asking us a couple of recommendations. So, okay, what approach do you want to use? Access to this, add volume. I think I will ask, this is just a trial, so please just scrape a maximum of 50 ads. This is just a trial, and a demo. So I don't want this to take too long. Perfect. So this is good. But then sheet outputs, I have created a credential.json file with access to my Google Sheet. So please ensure that you are creating it right there. So perfect. And data focus, all available data we want, right? And we let it continue. Accept this plan. Let's review it quickly. Branding guidelines, discover the site, Firecrawl map. So that's interesting. So that's why we also use the planning mode, because as you can see, if we just went with bypass permission, then probably the system would not have done the best possible job/approach, right? Now here we see that it's going to first map and then to scrape, right? So that's super interesting. It's going to use two tools and then extract. So things that we probably did not think about in the beginning. Okay. Great. So I could say perfect. So hey, this approach is great. However, since this is just a demo, feel free to just extract all of the branding guidelines only from the first page, so the landing page. All of the remaining pages and link, please feel free to deprioritize. And now we're good to go, and I will put both of them into bypass permission so that I know this is not the best practice. However, otherwise this video would take a little bit too long. And then we will see the output once both of them are finished, or if they actually will need any other approval. All right, so fantastic stuff. It seems like it finished both of them. So initially we have that these report with all the ads, and here we have that the branding guidelines are created. Let's just now validate that they are good guidelines. So branding guidelines are these. Okay, this is perfect, right? We can see overview, design and language, dark futuristic, properties, backgrounds, accents, and we can clearly see the red accents like the blues. Okay, fantastic. Color usage. And you can see how detailed this is. So UI component, there is everything literally. So now if we were to ask, hey, create a website on whatever with these branding guidelines, it would just do it and it would mimic the rest. So that's great. Let's now see what we have here. So report data, and we go in here. So we have everything extracted. So we have advertiser, ad copy, headline format, CTA, landing page. That's amazing. So it even gathered that. Paid by, and we have images, URLs, and what is it? The end? LinkedIn details. Let's open a LinkedIn link URL. Fantastic. And they seem to be working. Perfect. All right. So now you understood the value of being able to scrape something properly with the MCP Firecrawl or with any other service, because this is the foundation for your LLM or IDE to properly work on the project. So now you know how to build these things, but if you want to sell these things and turn this into a business skill, I left the first link down below, so go and check it out. And if you enjoyed this video, I'm pretty sure that you're gonna love building agentic workflows, so just go check this video right here.